Emma sat by the window, watching the rain fall. The sky was gray and the streets were wet. She held a letter in her hands. It was an old letter written many years ago. The paper was yellow and the ink was fading, but the words were still clear. Dear Emma, I am sorry. I never wanted to hurt you. Please forgive me, James. She read the letter again. Every word brought back memories. Emma and James were best friends once. They grew up together in a small town, Realntidem. They went to school together, played in the park, and told each other secrets. But one day, everything changed. It was a summer afternoon. The sun was shining and the birds were singing. Emma and James were sitting under a big tree, talking about their dreams. I want to travel the world, James said. His blue eyes were full of excitement. I want to see new places, meet new people. Emma smiled. That sounds wonderful. But will you come back? James looked at her. Of course I will. You are my best friend. I will always come back. But he didn't. 1 week later, James left the town without saying goodbye. Emma waited for him. She wrote him letters, but he never answered. She felt hurt and angry. Why did he leave? Why did he forget her? Years passed, and Emma tried to move on. She finished school, got a job at a small cafe, and made new friends. But deep inside, she still missed James. She still wondered why he left. Then one day, the letter arrived. It was short, only a few words. But those words opened an old wound in Emma's heart. Now, sitting by the window, she held the letter and thought about James. Where was he now? Was he happy? Did he really mean what he wrote? She sighed and put the letter on the table. She wanted to forget, but a part of her couldn't. Maybe she would never know the full story. Maybe some questions had no answers. Just then, the phone rang. Emma picked it up. There was silence for a moment. Then, a familiar voice spoke. Emma, it's me, James. Her heart stopped. After all these years, he was back, but why now? Emma took a deep breath. James, she said, why did you leave? James sighed. I had to go. It's a long story, but I never forgot you. Emma felt tears in her eyes. Then why didn't you write? I was afraid, James said, afraid you wouldn't forgive me. Emma closed her eyes. The pain, the questions, the loneliness. All these years she had waited for this moment now. But was she ready to hear the truth? Emma took a deep breath. Her hands were shaking. She had imagined this moment for years, but now that it was happening, she didn't know what to say. You were afraid? She repeated. Afraid of what? James hesitated. Afraid that you would hate me, that you wouldn't understand. Emma felt her heart tighten. Then help me understand, she said softly. James sighed. When I left, it wasn't my choice. My father got a new job in another city. He told me the night before we left. I wanted to tell you, but I didn't know how. I was young and scared. I thought that if I wrote to you later, it would be easier. Emma closed her eyes. The memory of that day came back. Waiting for James at the park, looking for him at school, knocking on his door only to find it locked. He was gone, and she had no idea why. You could have written to me, James, she whispered. Even later. I know, he said, and I regret it every day. At first, I thought you'd be angry. Then as time passed, I thought you had moved on. I didn't want to bring back old memories and hurt you again. Emma felt tears roll down her cheeks. You were my best friend, she said. I waited for you. I wrote to you, and you never answered. There was silence on the other end of the phone. Then James spoke again. I have another reason, he said, something I never told you. Emma held her breath. What is it? James hesitated. Emma, I didn't just leave behind a friend. I left behind the person I loved. Emma's heart skipped a beat. What? I loved you, James said. Even when we were just kids. I was too scared to tell you, and when I left, it hurt too much. I thought it was better to stay away. Emma wiped her tears. Her emotions were a storm, pain, anger, sadness, but also something else. Hope. I don't know what to say, she admitted. James took a deep breath. I don't expect you to forgive me. I just needed to tell you the truth. I'm back in town now. I understand if you never want to see me again, but if you do, I'd love to meet. Emma stared at the letter on the table. So many years of questions, and now she finally had answers. But what would she do with them? She thought about all the pain she had felt, the nights she had cried, the days she had wondered. But she also thought about the laughter, the friendship, the happiness they had shared. Could she forgive him? She picked up the phone, her heart pounding. James, she said. Yes? Meet me at the park, the old tree, tomorrow at noon. For the first time in years, Emma felt a small smile on her lips. Maybe this was a new beginning. Maybe, just maybe, some broken things could be fixed.